Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about hilarious misunderstandings. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, have you ever had a hilarious misunderstanding with a non-tech person about what you do? Oh, yes, a few times. I have two things that I can remember that I thought was pretty funny. I remember having a coworker, like a good friend of mine, who we're both developers, and he's the sort of like I'm the sort of person who, when if you've seen some of my videos related to documentation, I'm one of those guys who say, all right, if you have something you have to do that we can't automate or something like that, write just a step-by-step guide for how to do it. It doesn't have to be long. It's just like one of those, you do this, then you do that, so sort of thing, right? A checklist type of thing, right? And do that so that anybody can do it, regardless of if it's like me or if it's you and so forth. And he's sort of the guy like, I don't want to do that. Like, I know how to do this. I don't want to write it down and stuff like that. And in this specific instance, he sort of folded and he said, all right, I'm going to write this guide. And the basic thing, what he's going to do is we had like a third party API of some sort with like a testing environment. And basically we needed to run a job using like a few API calls ever so often. And so basically he writes this guide, and then like in this specific document that he made, he shows a few screenshots. Okay, go and do this and then do that, and then he shows his Postman setup, so to do the API calls and stuff like that. And then yeah, like I think a few days later, our product manager, she sends a message in our Slack channel saying that she's gonna like do this now because basically she needs to do it for a client. And then after a few, like an hour or two, we get this message to us: "Hey guys, who is the postman?" And I was kind of confused in the moment there, and then like, what do you mean? Which postman? Yeah, it says that I need to use a postman to do this thing. And it took me a moment to realize that she Postman is the application that he was using, and since she doesn't actually like she doesn't know anything about Postman or like any of this stuff, she thinks we're talking about a real postman. I thought that was pretty funny. I laughed. I did laugh pretty hard at that one. I thought it was just an amazing misunderstanding. But the same person now had something that made I thought was even better. Uh, and this was on me. That was my fault. Like, cause you know how it is. Like, it's the trouble of a subculture or be an expert or something like that, where you get so familiar with your own jargon and that everybody sort of knows what you're talking about that sometimes you forget that you're using terms that can be misunderstood by people who are not part of the same subculture. And this was very much that sort of situation. And this was one such instance, or rather, well, I would argue it was one of those instances. And then me, what I did was that we had another client where we were doing an integration. And basically, as you know, like integrations can vary a little bit in how you do them. In this specific instance, we needed to get an API, like API keys and like things like that from them. And so I said to my the to my the same product manager, and I said, okay, well, yeah, the network calls are all there, and like all the code is written now. We only need to get their to get their secrets. And she kind of went, "Are you like are you sure they're gonna give us that?" And I kind of go, "Well, yeah, they're gonna have to give us that because otherwise we won't be able to like connect." And then she, like a day or two later, she like she goes over to me and says like, I called their product manager and they don't feel comfortable giving us their secrets. And I kind of go, what do you mean? Like without the API, like the API secrets, like like the tokens or like API keys or something like that, we won't be able to connect to their system. And she goes, like, what, but yeah, but like, I don't think anybody would be like, they're a company, like, why would they give out their company secrets to you or to us? And then like the penny drops for me. Okay, I'm not talking about company secrets. I don't care like how much money they make, or like I don't care. It's not about them telling us something that is secret to their company. They have to give us an API token, like, which we refer to as a secret, or like a client secret, that or something similar, so that we can connect to them. And then I have to go into this like whole discussion with her and try to explain how we authenticate ourselves to their system. And then after a little bit of talking, she finally realizes what we want. And then I said, like, it might be easier if you just put me in contact with whoever is their tech lead on their side, because that developer will probably know what I'm talking about when I say API secret or something similar to that, right? That was pretty funny. I thought we laughed about it, and I tried to make her feel comfortable and say, like, you don't like, and I always do. This tip I give to you guys as well, like, remember something that at least I try to remember when I work in IT, and that is that in IT, in the context of IT, as a software developer, you're probably going to be the most knowledgeable person on hand, almost always, and everybody around you may not have the same understanding, but that is probably just because you're working in that specific area. As you know, if you're in a hospital, the doctor is probably going to be the most knowledgeable person. But try to be a little bit humble. And I always tell people, if you want to see, if we're in an IT company doing IT stuff, then yes, I'm probably going to be your go-to, and I'm probably going to know what I'm doing. If you put me in front of any task that is outside of that, somebody else is going to be the best at it. It's not going to be me. I mean, shit, I have problems. Just the other day, I had to get my ass to the bike shop because apparently I'm too stupid to put on a bicycle chain onto my bike so that it actually fits. And here's me thinking that I broke it somehow, and the guy in the shop just goes, "Well, you put it on wrong." And I go, "Can you please take some of my money and fix it for me? Because I am too stupid to do this. And I don't want to tell you how long I sat with that thing in order to get it wrong and give up." So what I want you to take away from this is that I have definitely had some hilarious misunderstandings. My favorite two are still going to be like, what is a postman? Okay, like which postman am I going to use in order to do this thing? Who do I talk to? And my personal favorite is secrets, because as you can probably understand, there's not a lot of companies who will give out company secrets to another company so that they can connect to their system. That's very important. They want to keep all of their earnings and customers and stuff like that secret. So don't ask for that when you're doing integrations. And then my final word on this is going to be, try to remember the thing I was saying. In my situation, this whole thing was basically due to that the misunderstanding comes from that I'm used to using certain words that might be a little bit hard to understand for someone who is not a software developer. And I have to remember that in a situation like that, it's good for me to make sure that I'm not saying dumb things down, but use terms that are approachable and understandable to the people who are not as informed as you are in this situation. And I ask the same thing when I'm outside of the context of IT, especially when I talk to my like legal people or like lawyers, or I talk to doctors or stuff like that. And I always tell them, just be okay. Like, I'm gonna be super stupid here, so might ask you for a few terms that you might be using. Like, usually they're really nice and they explain to me what they mean, because I don't know that stuff. And I think we as software developers, we should, like anybody who does anything that is more complicated than for what an average person, like, know your audience. Basically, that's what I'm telling you. And you're gonna have less hilarious mistakes, but people are probably going to be more well, they're going to be grateful that you consider their level when you're talking to them. So yeah, have a great day.